on that? Like revision of GSTR 3B.
So revision of GSTR 3B. So going earlier from the background, since the manner of matching of input tax credit or matching of output tax credit was never being introduced by the government, was never being implemented by the government. And in a matching concept, what happens is you verify the details before filing your details, as in you verify all the details which are available in the output tax register which is being furnished by your supplier, or let us say your customer, and all these things. And there is entire matching mechanism which was given in section 42 and 43. Now, since there was no matching mechanism, for this reason government thought of bringing a concept of revision, wherein since there is only unidirectional flow of data, not there is no multi-directional or bi-directional flow of data, which was earlier envisaged in the GST law. And for that reason, there was no concept of GST revision, because you are getting data from multiple sources, and as such the chances of error gets reduced, because the data is verified and it is coming from multiple sources. However, now GST system is behaving in a unidirectional manner, and for that reason government thought it fit to allow taxable persons to revise their returns, because only a taxable person is well aware of the data which is being put in the GST returns, and there is no other way of the information which is being made available to the taxpayer. For that reason, they are considering of the revision. Already there was High Court writ on that, Bharti Airtel, regarding refund which was being filed, and however later on it was dismissed. The appeal was allowed, and the decision was given against the judgment of Delhi High Court in the case of Bharti Airtel, wherein the Delhi High Court ruled that the refund should be allowed, because had GSTR 2A being operational, the Bharti Airtel would have taken that ITC. For that reason, the Supreme Court stated that even though GSTR 2A is being made available, however, the taxpayer is made responsible to furnish correct returns. He cannot rely solely on GSTR 2A. And for that reason, government thought of thinking to allow revision in the returns, because there is again unidirectional details which are being available with the taxpayer.
Okay, Shivashiji, what I exactly think in the first phase, many people are still not able to take the transitional credit, and are they getting any kind of benefit from these? Like they are not able to file the ITC Tran 1, Tran 2 forms or all these things. So are they getting any benefit through these council meetings? Because nobody is discussing about that. But
so I understood your point. Current council meeting doesn't deal with the transitional credit related thing. When you go to section 140D, so it was specified that a registered person would be able to carry forward the TRAN credit. However, they amended that section retrospectively and stated that a registered person can carry forward transitional credit within the timeline prescribed, within the prescribed timelines. However, when within the timelines prescribed, these words were not added, various high courts ruled that the timeline which is specified in Rule 117 of 90 days or whatsoever it may be is not coming out directly from the provisions of the section, because the section simply says a registered person would be allowed to carry forward the the credit which is being availed in the earlier return. There was no line which was mentioned within the prescribed timelines. The government to introduce and to reverse those decisions, because those decisions stated that the timelines are not sacrosanct, and for that reason the act doesn't say any timeline and even doesn't give power to specify the timeline. And they introduced, revised that section 140, and put that line within the prescribed timeline. And by that reason, they tried to deny the ITC, stating that a person who has not filed TRAN credit within the period of 90 days under Rule 117 would not be allowed to carry forward the transitional credit. Whereas High Court's ruled that you allow manual filing if in case the GSTN doesn't allow online filing of tran from. Those credits are being allowed in some of the cases, like in Madras and other cities. Those cases are are allowed. However, in most of the cases, those credits are being never being allowed. The government have filed appeal against those decision. In those decision, it was even brought out that since the act doesn't provide any timeline, the timeline of 3 years as provided in the Limitation Act would be applicable, because the act doesn't provide any timeline. However, they amended that section and stated within the prescribed timelines, and the prescribed timelines was Rule 117, 90 days timeline. So as such, there is no decision on tran credit related thing. The litigations are already on. The persons who have got the credit, like some of the taxable persons in Madras, are happy with that. Otherwise, already there are pending petitions before the Supreme Court challenging the orders of High Court, and these are being filed by the department.
It means nobody is getting the credit easily.
More or less, no one is getting. If in case you have the proof that you attempted to file a transitional form and the portal was not allowing, in that case, the chances of getting relief becomes higher. Otherwise, as such, if you can't furnish any proof that you attempted to file tran, there are obviously very lesser number of chances for that.
Great. So Shivashiji, when are you expecting that press release will come? Because
so press release is expected to come by tomorrow only around 6 p.m.
Okay.
I'll just brief on the points which we are expecting that the press release would be dealing with. So I have prepared a Word document for the same. So let's share for the larger audience. So these are the high participants. These are the changes which are being expected, or something is expected on these points in the press release which is going to come out tomorrow. And it is obviously expected to come out tomorrow evening only, after the conclusion of GST Council meeting. So first point is, at present, there is no requirement of e-way bill in case of transportation of gold, jewelry, and other precious stones. For that, states are going to be empowered to notify a particular threshold in case of intrastate movement, and e-way bill requirement is going to be generated for that. The reason was obvious that in order to curb the evasion the government is trying to introduce. However, the traders have their own concern that giving the information of movement of jewelry can be risky and can lead to some troubles for them also. Next is extension of compensation cess beyond 2022, and we are going to discuss all these points in detail. I am just giving a brief on what all agendas are being covered, are being discussed in the GST Council meeting. So extension of GST compensation cess, this is being already notified till March 2026. And it is going to be a post facto ratification by the GST Council, because the notification has already been introduced on this. Imposition of 28% GST on casino, online gaming, and horse racing. Currently, there is no specific entry dealing with these cases. So 28% GST is being proposed on this. Rate rationalization, including correction of inverted duty structure. We saw that inverted duty structure on footwears is already being rationalized, in the sense the tax rate has been increased to 12% from 5%. So that is being considered for various other lines, like solar sector has this issue currently. However, textile sector also has this issue, and to my understanding, it is not going to be implemented, at least in the textile sector, to what it seems like, but we need to wait for tomorrow's press release. There are a host of exemptions which are going to be withdrawn. One of the exemption is that slaughtering of animals. Currently, the slaughtering of animals is exempted. However, government is proposing to tax that. Another exemption is like hospital beds which have room rent of more than 5,000 on a daily basis is also going to be made taxable. There are n number of other exemptions like 1,000 rupees of room rent is currently being exempted under GST, that is being considered to be made taxable. There is another exemption like business use residential premises being rented out to a corporate entity for the usage by their employees or for the purpose of as a guest house. In that case, there is exemption because there are two parameters: residential buildings and residential dwelling, residential use, and both the parameters are getting satisfied. However, the government is considering to remove that exemption. So there are host of exemptions which are going to be removed, and the list is going to be very long, and we are expecting waiting for that list. Post office related services, currently post office related services, speed post services are being taxed. Other services are also proposed to be taxed. Printing of checkbooks and all these things are also proposed to be taxed at the rate of 18%. There is a proposal to verify the registration requirements. Anyone applying registration has to satisfy the department that he's not going to be turning out to be a risky or a, let us say, fraudulent taxpayer, evading tax or passing on input tax credit without actual procurement. So that registration strictness is going to be introduced. So one of the example which I can give is, so let us say a taxable person has taken a registration at a particular place of business. That place of business was used as per the department for issuing fake invoices and all. So while someone else is going to apply for registration at the same place of business, in that case, that taxpayer can, that registration application can be considered to be a risky registration application, and accordingly more details are going to be verified in that case. Exemptions on services to panchayats, municipalities is going to be clarified. There would be introduced, exemptions would be introduced on that. Margin scheme on tour operator is going to be introduced. Tour operator is currently being taxed at the rate of 5%. So that is being going to be considered that only the differential amount is being taxed, because in most of the cases tour operators are not eligible to claim the input tax credit. For that reason, they thought it a fit case of representing to government and stating that rather than taxing whole the amount and saying that input tax credit is available on all the procurements, it is better you say that we are going to collect the tax on the margin, because in most of the cases ITC is not available, and on the sale value you have to pay the full amount of tax. So these all points we are going to discuss tomorrow once the press release is out. Setting up of GST tribunal was another agenda which was being which was supposed to be taken up. However, that matter has been, as per the sources, that matter has been referred to the group of ministers to have more detailed discussion. And obviously, the reason why this is requiring more discussion is because of the fact, as per the current provisions, technical members as in departmental personals are being given priority, as in the majority portion, majority stake, then the judicial members. And since the tribunal judgments are binding, and since as per the constitutional framework we have independence of judiciary and executives, so that section was being stayed to be implemented by Delhi High Court, and there was a petition in Madras High Court wherein the court ruled that judicial members should have a majority, and for that reason there is a requirement for separation. And for that reason the group of ministers are deliberating on that, how can we increase the judicial members from the technical members, and how this GST tribunal related thing is going to function. Another thing, section 10 currently says for composition dealers supplying through e-commerce operator are not eligible for composition scheme. That is being considered to be taken up so that more small taxable persons comes into the picture and being allowed composition scheme, because many taxable persons are supplying goods or services through e-commerce operator. Annual forms are going to be notified already. These are notified, but these are going to be notified with the same relaxations which were being earlier available, or one or two tables, or let us say one or two relaxations which were earlier available are going to be taken away. And last but not the least, we had already discussed, Shashank ji stated of revision of GST 3B. Since GST as of now functioning as a unidirectional method of data flow, so that is being considered. And last but not the least, we are going to have a detailed discussion on all the above points after tomorrow's press release. We would be having a GST quiz also, and the prizes would be in the form of books which are being written by very respected and reputed authors of the industry. So this is all, I mean, which is being the information which is being available on the public domain. I thought of briefing you guys since you guys have joined us. And with this, I'll take the leave, and final words from Shashank sir on this.
Thank you, Shivashish ji, and I really believe that tomorrow, hopefully by 6 p.m, we will get all the press release details, and we'll have a detailed deliberation by you and multiple speakers, I can say. And I believe this time all these suggested amendments are, if you see the perspective of the amendments, I don't know what is the perspective behind, but decreasing the exemptions and adding more technology to the GST. I believe slowly and gradually they are now started using maximum the portal ability
Correct.
to analyze all the GST taxpayers. And with this platform only, I always advise the taxpayers and clients that government is very smart now. So you also have to be careful, and you have to do all the work as expected and required by the law. So let's join tomorrow. Okay, Shivashish ji?
Yes.
Let's connect tomorrow.
So we are going to join tomorrow. We are going to have detailed discussion. I have lot of inputs, lot of things to discuss. And as always, would ensure that the participants are getting value addition.
Absolutely, sir. With you, with your insights, all the participants, and even on this platform, and after getting uploaded on the YouTube as well, all the participants will definitely enjoy these knowledge series. Chaliye. Thank you, Shivashish ji. Thank you all participants.
Thank
Let's
you,
connect
attendees.
tomorrow.
Thank you.